I was doing a really good job of not buying too many books this year, but now I have failed. So one of my goals at the start of the year was to read 3 books and then buy just one. So buying 1 book for every 3 books that I read. And I have failed that entirely. According to my statistics, I have read 28 books from my previously owned TBR from prior to 2021, and I have read, I think, 13 or 14 books that I bought in 2021. So that is the majority of my reading. To be fair, I am getting through them, but I am also buying them a bit faster than I am reading. So for the rest of the year, I'm going to talk about this in another video, but for the rest of the year, I'm going to be dividing up all of the books that I've bought this year. There are 45 of them and I've already read 10. So I have 35 books left. I'm going to be trying to focus on the books that I bought in 2021 to get those down to 0, but I'm going to be talking about that in another video, so please subscribe if you haven't already. I will be uploading that in a couple of weeks. For now, I'm just going to show you all of these books that I have bought. So starting off with the ones that I bought for myself, we have As Good as Dead, which was one of my most anticipated releases of this year. It's the 3rd book in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. It's a YA thriller. It's set in the county that I live in and it's absolutely fantastic. I love it. The trilogy, that is. This 3rd book I've already read. It wasn't as good as the previous books in the series. I still gave it 4 stars. I'm going to talk about it more either in a review if you want one of those or in my August wrap up, but this one didn't really live up to my expectations, but I still very much enjoyed it and would highly recommend this series. Next, I bought Goldilocks. This one was just £2, so I couldn't not pick it up. I know that my friend Justine enjoyed this one. I can't remember too much of what it's about. I think it's about a Goldilocks type woman. I don't really know what that means now that I've said that. And I've heard that it's very feminist as well, so that's always good. I think it might be about someone trying to get back to Earth or get back to a different planet, perhaps. This is by the author of Seveneves, which wasn't a book that I enjoyed. I think I DNF'd that back in December, but I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy this book. It says here that it's Interstellar meets The Handmaid's Tale, so I don't know. I'm expecting good things from this one. It's very short, it shouldn't be difficult for me to read by the end of the year. Next, I picked up a book called From the Ashes by Jessie Thistle. I've been wanting to read more non-fiction books this year, and I'm kind of failing since I haven't really been listening to audiobooks because I don't have a commute at the moment. That will change very soon, but I wanted to pick this one up because I had heard quite good things about it. I think it was on a couple of book lists and that's how I heard about it. I can't remember whose book lists they were, but you can see that it's won a couple of different awards. It's got the badges on the cover. So this is a memoir written by Jess's memoir, if you will. I think Jesse ended up in the foster care system, and then he and his brothers ended up being raised by his grandparents, by their grandparents, I think. And it's basically a story of drug addiction and overcoming, I guess, many different issues. It says here that it's just a story of being matus, is that how you pronounce it? Homeless and finding his way. I'm looking forward to reading this one. Then I picked up Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. This one I think is a mystery, not quite a thriller, but I've had my eye on this one for the longest time, and then the hardback went on sale, so I was very pleased. I feel like this is sort of a courtroom kind of thriller, so the main characters are either involved in a court trial or start a court trial for some reason, and I've heard that it's very twisty, which I love. I've heard that this was Angie Kim's debut as well. That's always fun to read. I'm not going to read too much of the synopsis, but it does say here that the miracle submarine mysteriously explodes, killing 2 people. A dramatic murder trial upends the U's small community. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I cannot wait. I then picked up The Mountains Sing kind of on a whim because I just walked into Waterstones one day and this was sort of sat there like staring at me, as books often do in Waterstones. I really like the cover for one thing, and then also the back kind of got me because it says that it's about one family, 2 generations of women, and a war that will change their lives forever. So I think it's set during the Vietnam War, which isn't really something I know much about. Again, it's not really something that's spoken about in the UK all that much, and it's not taught in our history classes, at least the school that I went to didn't cover it. So it'll be very interesting to read this one. After picking this one up, I actually started to see it absolutely everywhere, which was quite interesting, and it's been shortlisted for a couple of prizes, I think. It won the Book Browse Best Debut Award as well, which is fantastic. So looking forward to reading this one when I'm in the mood for some historical. I then picked up Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I did have this from the library, I think, back in November when we were supposed to be reading it for the Space Sirens book club, but I didn't because I suck. I think I read the first couple of pages and I couldn't get into it, but I've decided to pick it up now, especially because someone asked if I could recap it for Recaptions. They were looking to perhaps reread this before the sequel comes out because the cover was revealed around the same time, and I said that I would recap it, so I'm going to do that. I don't know what it's about. I think it's sci-fi, perhaps sci-fi fantasy. It's also blurbed by my favourite author, S.A. Chakraborty, so I am probably going to love it. So the tagline says, "A god will return when the earth and sky converge under the black sun." R.F. Kuang also blurbed it. I have very high hopes for this. I'm expecting to love it. Next, I picked up one that, again, was kind of on a whim, and I'm not too sure about it, but I have heard phenomenal things, mostly from Reddit, to be honest, but that is Seveneves by Neil Stevenson. And this is a chunky book. It's enormous, nearly 900 pages, but I can handle that. I've been chugging my way through The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance for the past few months, so I can definitely do this. I picked this one up because every time someone on Reddit has asked for something like The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet or a space opera book, people have recommended this as kind of like the next level up. When I saw this in a shop in Waterstones, I picked it up because I figured, why not? It says here that a catastrophic event renders the Earth a ticking time bomb. There's an ambitious plan that's devised to ensure the survival of humanity, and then 5,000 years later, there's another journey into the unknown and to an alien world. So I don't know if this is like a first contact kind of story, but oh, there's a map. There's some kind of map in here as well. I've heard really good things about this author. I've heard amazing things about this book, and the fact that it keeps getting recommended every time I go on Reddit is intriguing to me, so I'm looking forward to reading this. I might try to read it in September or October. We'll talk about that in my next video. I also bought Ace of Spades, which is a YA thriller set in a prep school. Cannot wait to read this one. I don't know anything else about it. I don't want to know anything else, so please don't tell me in the comments, but I've had my eye on this one for months now. I tried to get an arc of it, couldn't get one, which is fine, but I'm going to be doing a reading vlog for this one very soon. During my immense shopping spree, where we ended up in Waterstones and spending £70, Quill also picked up a book. Well, he picked up a couple of books, but this one in particular was The Trouble with Peace by Joe Abercrombie. This is the second book in his spin-off trilogy or follow-on trilogy, I'm not really sure. Haven't read it. I haven't read the first one in that trilogy, but I do want to eventually, so I'm glad he picked this one up. And then we also chose Lovecraft Country because I'm in the mood for some pulp horror, I guess. And I think this one is turned into a TV show on HBO. Haven't heard much about it in terms of like what it's actually about, but I kind of want to go in not knowing anything at all. So all I know is that it's set in the 1950s, at least partly. I'm not sure if it's entirely in the 50s or not, and it's meant to be very, very good, so I'm looking forward to reading this one around Halloween, I think. And then for the final book that I bought myself, we have some library books coming afterwards, don't worry. That is Dune. I think we say June in the UK. This is being turned into a film, I believe, with a Zendaya, which is partly, well, the majority of the reason why I'm excited for it. This, I have heard, is intense to read. It's quite difficult to get into, apparently, but I'm looking forward to reading it, and it is quite long. It's what, it's not as long as I thought it was actually. It's 550-ish pages, and compared to Seveneves, that's really not that much, so I'm less intimidated by it now. All I know is this is set on a different planet, I think, yeah, and there's a desert with sand dunes. That's the extent of my knowledge on this, and I'm quite glad that I'm not reading too much into it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it, do a full book review, like a separate one on my channel, and then I'm going to do some sort of book to movie adaptation comparison because I like doing those kinds of videos. And it's a series that I've been meaning to start on my channel for ages. I just haven't really had the chance because I haven't read many books that have been turned into movies this year. So I'm going to get to this one, and then probably also Lovecraft Country, perhaps. I don't know, we'll figure that out. Subscribe if you want to see that from me. Okay, and next we have the library books, plus this one loan book that my neighbour lent to me because she's lovely. She heard that I like reading. I guess she didn't see me carting all the books into the house when we first moved in. And so I said that I really like thrillers, and I don't think our tastes really cross over all that much because she really likes James Patterson, and I don't particularly. I mean, he's not the worst writer, but I don't really check out his books. But she lent me The Coast to Coast Murders by James Patterson and J.D. Barker. I assume it's just written by J.D. Barker. No idea what this one's about. Something about adopted siblings. A young woman is found murdered in Michael's apartment. He is the chief suspect. And then the LAPD and FBI get involved. So the thrillers that I tend to enjoy don't really involve the CIA or FBI or any police officers. I just don't like those kinds of things. But she lent this to me, so I will read it and then I'll give her my thoughts. She got really excited when she heard that I like thriller books, so I couldn't say no when she handed this to me. And then we have all the library books that I've got checked out of the library. I don't think I've shown you any of these before. I may have shown you 2 of them, so I'll quickly show you those again, perhaps for a second time. First one is And the Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. I'm not entirely sure what this is about, but I think it's set in Afghanistan and it's about siblings, so yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. I love The Kite Runner. I'm currently reading A Thousand Splendid Suns, and then I'm looking forward to getting to this one. And the next one I picked up that I think I might have already shown you, maybe not, is Q. This one is by the author of Vox, and it says here that the main character is a teacher in one of the government's elite schools for children. Her own daughter scores lower than expected and is taken away, so Eleanor follows her to her new home, and this is a government institute, so I think it's kind of a dystopian sort of vibe like her previous book, which was definitely dystopian, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. I'm hoping to get to it very soon. Next I picked up what I hope is going to be a spooky book. I think it's more of a crime, but I'm hoping it's going to be spooky, and that is Pine. The plastic covers are really not helping the shine in this conservatory. So it says here that it's a literary gothic thriller, and it's one of the standout debuts of the year. I think it's set in the Highlands. It's set in a small town, which is something that I always really enjoy, just either for the small town drama or the small town mystery. It's something that I love. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. Again, it's something that I might save for later on in September so that I can read it as kind of a spooky read. Next, I picked up a thriller, again on a whim, but it was just staring at me at the library for the past couple of times that I had been there, so I decided to pick it up this time, and that is 7 Days. This one is about a mother who has 7 days to save her son. I think she's expecting him to be taken away when he turns 3. That was it. So she has been held captive. I think she's been imprisoned by someone for the past however many years, and she's had 2 sons prior to this current little boy, and they've both been taken away on their 3rd birthdays. Max, the little boy, is turning 3, so she's expecting him to be taken away too in 7 days, so I think she has to escape. I think I'm getting kind of Room vibes from this one. Don't know about anyone else. I haven't read any reviews for it. I've not really seen it around BookTube or the book internet, I suppose, so I don't know much about it. I don't really know what the vibe is, but I'm looking forward to reading it. Next, I picked up Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This one is set in a coffee shop, which lets you travel back in time, and you only get to stay back in time until your coffee gets cold. I don't know anything else about it. It's a very short book. It's going to be so easy to fly through. I've heard really good things about it, and I think there's a sequel, or at least there's a book with a very similar cover by the same author. So I don't know if that's a sequel or if it's just related or what, but I'm looking forward to reading this one. I've heard such good things about it. Next, I picked up Dominicana. Again, I might have shown you this one already. I'm having real deja vu here. But this one is about a woman from the Dominican Republic who moves to America, and I think it tells the story of her kind of reflecting on her life in the Dominican Republic, which then falls into political turmoil, and you know, she's comparing her life now to her life then, and I guess thinking about her family who still live in the Dominican Republic. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. This next one, my friend Angela is going to be very happy with me for picking up, and that is Best of All Possible Worlds by Karen Lord. She loved this one. I think she gave it 5 stars, and she's been reading through Karen Lord's other works as well. I don't really know what it's about because, to be honest, I want to go into it knowing nothing, and I kind of tune out whenever Angela talks about it because I want to keep it kind of a mystery. But I have heard really good things, like people's reactions have been very, very positive for this one. I believe it's a sci-fi, and that's possibly all that I know about it. It says here that it's an energetic and self-aware story. Karen Lord is doing something different, and that's to be applauded, charmingly told, witty. It has tricks to spiders. I don't know how I feel about that, but I trust Angela's opinion. I hope it's not too scary. So yeah, this one's been in the library the past few times that I went, and I have been meaning to pick it up, so I finally did. I'm hoping to read this one possibly in September. And now we're down to the last 2. I'm trying to speed through them so this video doesn't turn out to be really long. The next one I picked up was Dread Nation by Justina Ireland, and I did receive this one as a review copy when it first came out, but so I've just noticed there's like ink or something on the side of here. That's not good. Yeah, I did have a review copy of it as an ebook, but I started it and then I can't remember if I wasn't in the mood for any zombie horror at the time, but yeah, I put it down and didn't pick it up. So I found this in the library. I'm going to read it and review it, at least on my blog, probably not on my YouTube channel, but let me know if you want a full review. So this one is set just after the Civil War ended, I think, in the 1800s, and the main character is being trained to be a zombie hunter. I really enjoyed the first 100 pages or so that I read. I just didn't, I don't know, have the mental energy to carry on with it, so I'm looking forward to reading it again this time and actually finishing the book and possibly reading the sequel too. And then finally I picked up The Shadow King, which was shortlisted for, I think, the Man Booker Prize or a prize, I can't remember which one. This one is set in Ethiopia in the early 1900s, I think during World War II. Let's have a look. Yeah. So in 1935. It says here that the main character is orphaned. She has to adapt to her new life as a maid. Her employer has to mobilize his strongest men before the Italians invade. She has to help disguise a gentle peasant as the emperor and soon becomes his guard, inspiring other women to take up arms. It says here that it's gorgeously crafted, unputdownable, and an exploration of female power. I don't know much about Ethiopian history. Again, not really something that's taught in the UK. In fact, it's not taught at all. or at least it wasn't when I was in school. Disclaimer, I've not been in school for at least 10 years, so I could be wrong. But when I was in school, we weren't taught about anything to do with Ethiopian history. So I'm looking forward to reading this one to learn a bit more about that. And also I've been told, or at least I have inferred, that this is a very, very good book and it's definitely one to check out. So I'm going to read it very soon and get back to you. I'll let you know what I think of it. So those are all the books that I bought recently or acquired recently. Like I said, I am going to be doing a video in the next couple of weeks where I talk about my plan going forward this year and how I'm going to hopefully balance the books, if that's what we're calling it. I think that's where you try to read as many books as you bring in, or unhaul as many books, but I'm not unhauling books at the moment. So I'm going to talk about this in more detail eventually, but I also don't like unhauling books that I haven't read yet. I feel like a lot of the books that I buy have a lot of potential, so I don't want to get rid of them. It feels like a waste of money to me. Anyway, those are all the books that I acquired recently. Let me know if you've read any of them. Let me know which ones you think I should read first. If you would like specific reviews on any of these, please let me know and I will do my best to do that for you. In terms of which ones I'm most excited for, well, there are there's lots of them. I would say that these are probably going to be priorities for me in the next month or so if I haven't read them already by the time this video goes up, because talking about them now has made me so excited. So we have Miracle Creek, Lovecraft Country, Ace of Spades, which I will be reading in the next couple of weeks, and The Mountains Sing. So yeah, wish me luck. Hopefully I can get through them all by the end of the year like I want to. Again, I will talk more about that in another video in the next couple of weeks. So thank you so much for watching this video. I will speak to you all in the next one. Bye.